Alright, I think this challenge should be pretty easy. I don't feel like it's going to be too much of an issue. Or never mind, what am I looking at? Oh, of course, it's just the unbeatable seed. Why wouldn't it be? Okay, but let's just say I somehow managed to escape and get to the surface. Then would I be able to beat the game? Oh, that's weird. It's raining. I wonder if this is thunder or something. Hello there, my name is That Fat Goose, and what do you think the worst possible luck in Minecraft is? No, really, tell me. Is it spawning in an awful seed, never getting any lucky mob drops, having awful chest loot, having piglins trade you nothing but magma cream, or villagers that never give you mending? I am on the 500th lecture break, just give me mend. Well, what if I told you it was all of those combined? And what can only be described as a slightly interesting idea being turned into a masochist's paradise, the YouTuber Hepe created a mod that always gives you the worst possible luck in Minecraft. And he tried and sadly failed to beat it in hardcore. But that's where I come in, as I plan to pick up where he left off and beat Minecraft hardcore with the worst possible luck. Which all starts on run so it's currently 1. December 22nd right now, and honestly, I think this is going to be a pretty easy... What on earth am I looking at? Okay, I think I know what the intro for the bit's going to be. Yeah, I just can't beat this. Alright, so the challenge is already impossible. Pack it up, go home, vid's over, we can't win. See, even if I manage to somehow escape the unescapable seed, I still can't beat it because there isn't a single completely filled end portal. And due to the 0% chance to get ender pearls and blaze rods, it means that for me to beat this challenge, I'm going to have to find a seed that has one. Now, I could technically just roll worlds with my F6 key until I get one, but if it's the worst possible luck, that means that you're going to get this seed every single time. Which, by the way, the odds for this are... I have this written down somewhere, where is it? 1 in about 1.3 octovigintillion, or in other words, my average flint rates. Luckily, there is a solution. Command C, Command V. Wow, look at that, a seed with a completed end portal. And if you think for a second that this is now easy, you are dead wrong. See, I chose to use the same seed as Hepe just to prove that it is totally possible to beat. And to beat this seed, it's time to load up the world and begin run 1. The run starts out with me spawning next to a desert village with a desert temple. I quickly drop down and get quite possibly the most crucial item for this run, TNT. But I will explain why later. I also get all the items from the chest using a speedrun tactic to get all the loot as fast as possible. Now, if you notice something interesting, this loot kinda sucks, and that's because this mod gives the worst possible loot rolls every single time, turning chests like this one into this. After ransacking the first village for all of its food and beds and killing the golem for its iron, I then start to run all the way to a different village to do the same thing. The route I decided to plan out was almost a triangle, where I start at the village in the middle, head to the next village on the next edge, and boat across the ocean to a stronghold. Oh, did I mention that all drowned spawn as baby drowned with tridents that will never drop? After quickly getting some wood to craft an iron pick and trying to mine some iron bars, I look at the time and realize Armageddon is coming. Now, to quickly explain, every 10 minutes, Minecraft will attempt to spawn a thunderstorm in which, with the worst possible luck, lightning will strike every single block and spawn trapped skeleton horse jockeys as often as possible. This timer starts right as you join the world, and if you look at that timer, 10 minutes is about to hit. And no matter where you are, you know it's happening. Why? Well, because your FPS tanks, and it sounds like this. Oh, did I mention that skeletons and zombies spawn with maxed prot 4 armor, sharp 5 weapons, and power 5 bows, along with spiders spawning with invis, and all zombies as babies? No? Oh, well, they do! This run instantly died, and it was on to the next one. But while I do the exact same start as the last time, you're probably wondering why I needed so many beds. I mean, I made an hour-long video just to learn how to kill the dragon with 4, so why do I need so many? Well, it's because the dragon never perches, and you can't zero cycle it because it will just leave. Oh, but just bow it, you might say. Ah, yes, let me use a projectile that has a tiny bit of deviation due to luck. Not a single projectile works in the entire game. The only way to kill the dragon is with practically an inventory full of beds and doing something called ground zero. That, however, will be explained later, but I will explain why that TNT was so useful with this second run, getting tons of wood by blowing up the forest. And at about 6 minutes, I move on to a specific set of cords to start digging down. Now you might be confused why set seed. It's just set seed. See, I know everything in this world, and trust me, that doesn't make this any easier. It just speeds up the process of eventually coming to the same result. Digging down, I get the needed iron for the iron bars to perform the ground zero, and the diamonds for a pickaxe to mine the obsidian needed. And just in time, as it's 10 minutes into the run, and Armageddon has begun. Now, skeleton horse jockeys might not be a big issue, as you have to run close to trap them, which is why, with the worst possible luck, all mobs will constantly pathfind towards you, hostile or not. resulting in this. Also, look how many times I hit the skeleton. That is just not happening. I do my best to try to tunnel out, but eventually I just give up because I'm just lost, and the mob's pathfinding was just way too strong. Ending run 2. But now I know where to go. Also, if you are this far into the video, please subscribe. I want to hit 100k before I graduate, and at the end of the day, I really do want to make this a career. So if you would like to support my dream, please do consider subscribing. And if you don't, at least type the video, man. Apparently it's really good if you do so, and it's huge for smaller creators like me. Both of these help me out so much. Anyways, the next run is the exact same. It's set seed, so there shouldn't be any variance. Every mistake makes me better and forces me to learn something. Also, you notice that when I mine blocks, they always go away from me. That's because even block drops are on a luck system, and with the worst possible luck, they will always go away from you, which is just cruel. Anyways, after quickly sleeping through Armageddon, I mine back up, go to a specific set of chords that puts me out in the middle of a river, and wow, this is exactly why all mobs pathfinding towards you is difficult. The only reason I lived is because that arrow lost all of its momentum in the water, dealing 0 damage. Glad to see skeleton shots aren't affected by luck at all, unlike mine. In fact, skeleton shots never miss. Looking at my inventory, I have just about everything I need, except more beds, so because of that, I start to head to the next village, by going in the opposite direction of where it is. A quick course correct solves the issue, and I'm on my way, but it's getting close to the next 10-minute mark. Remember when I said that every failed run forces me to learn something? Well, that last run taught me to make escape tunnels like I'm in an SMP before Armageddon starts, so that by the time the hostile mobs pathfind towards me, I'm long gone. By the way, small tangent, why do so many random SMPs just result in either jumping like it's JJK, or running away for 30 minutes before doing something really scummy? Like, can we please just take some 1v1s and lose with dignity? Anyways, look how effectively it worked. I didn't even get hit. I get to the next village, get the beds, and just like that, it's time to fight the dragon. Now, you may think that we just got past the hard part of this run, but you couldn't be any more wrong. We just got past the easiest part of this run. Now comes the hard part, killing the dragon. After boating across baby drowned with trident-infested waters, I quickly reached the Mushroom Island, which houses the stronghold, especially useful because hostile mobs don't spawn here, making this pretty much the only safe place in the run. I quickly mine down to the portal room, get the obsidian needed to ground zero, and enter the hardest part of this run, the end. Now, you might think it's easy, just kill the dragon with beds. She can't out-heal it, surely. Well, remember, this is the worst possible luck. So when you are trying to deal damage to her, she flies as high up as possible to where you can just barely deal damage, hence why I need so many beds. And she will never perch, which means she can totally out-heal this. This result forces me to need to destroy all 10 crystals before killing the dragon, which is made especially difficult due to how Endermen will always teleport to you wherever you are looking and constantly crowd you. I mean, look at this. What is this? The largest issue out of all of this is that if I aggro one, I'm dead. They deal 6 arts a hit, and I cannot tell which one is mad. So the plan right now is to water bucket up the pillar and break the crystal while the dragon is flying around you and shooting fireballs as often as possible, and do that about 9 more times until I can ground zero. And this works decently well. I was getting a good chunk of crystals pretty fast. The only issue is I'm bound to make a mistake, and that dragon is really trying to kill you, which means one small mistake puts me at death's door, and another one ends the run entirely. Also, real quick, can we just pause and say, what is this? That did not hit me. What are we trying here, Mojang? And with 2 small mistakes, it's going to take me another 30 minutes just to get back there. Oh wow, look at that, a Discord plug where you can join my Discord server with the link in the description. Also, at this point, you might be thinking, hey, this isn't bad luck. The worst possible luck would be having 50 wardens chasing you in a bedrock box suspended over the void and being on half a heart while Minecraft's deadliest player chases you in full netherite, which... no, I am beating Minecraft with the worst possible luck, which is just numbers. That would be the worst possible outcome. To put it in simple terms, the worst possible luck is waking up on the first day of Christmas break with the flu, and the worst possible outcome is punching God in the face and not expecting to get smited. See the difference? One is choice, and the other is hollow purple. Anyways, next run. This is the same pathing you've seen before, except this time I'm in a call with the gang, which made this a little bit more interesting, with the 2 notable things before the end being this. Whoa, wait. Hey, Editor Goose here to essentially explain what you just heard. What you just heard was a mushroom cow being turned into a brown mushroom cow by being struck with lightning. I have literally never heard this in my 10 years of playing Minecraft, but that is so cool. Oh, and this Enderman being an absolute pain. Like, look at this. I jump in place and it TPs. The worst part is, once I get everything and enter the end, I have a full island of these things to deal with. By the way, if you're wondering why the terrain and ores look old along with there being no deep slate, this is because the modder made it 1.16.1, which should be easier, except for the fact that a lot of luck-based things became seed dependent in later versions, meaning that this version is actually about as hard as it gets. Also, I had to leave the VC at this point because it's genuinely impossible to focus with these clowns in my ear.
I literally cannot focus in this call.
Anyways, I destroyed a good amount of the crystals, but once again, one small mistake and I somehow survived. Also, I don't understand how the damage works for these crystals. I'm kind of just tanking it and praying. Until, well, remember when I said it's impossible to tell if an Enderman is aggro in this crowd? Well, here's exactly what I mean by that. I managed to get my water back, drop down, and I'm about to leave when...
Dude, nothing I could have done. Nothing I could have done there.
Fun fact, there was totally something I could have done about it. I just made an excuse to ignore my own faults and pretend the game just threw something unavoidable at me. At this point, it was getting exasperating due to how close I was getting and still failing. This seed was becoming second nature to me at this point. I was able to do everything in the overworld without a single issue, getting wood, iron, diamonds, and all the beds while taking 0 damage. Everything was perfect and smooth, yet this one stupid random unlucky variable kept ruining it every time. This wasn't even a challenge run anymore, it was a boss fight. And even when, within 20 minutes, I was in the end, it didn't matter because once I got in, I was swiftly killed by the dragon, resetting all of my progress and forcing me to try all over again. At this point, it was pretty late at night for me and I was completely exasperated and exhausted, so I went to bed. When I first played the Elden Ring DLC, yes, this is still a Minecraft video, just trust the process. When I first played the Elden Ring DLC, I didn't find it too much of an issue. Sure, some bosses were hard and some were downright just unfair, but it wasn't anything that a couple of tweaks or changes to how I played couldn't fix. But that was until the final boss. This boss is undebatably the hardest boss ever created in the Soul series, possibly just ever as Souls-likes go. This boss absolutely destroyed me. I spent 6 hours in one day trying to beat him over and over and over and over, but it didn't make a difference. I could never win. So, what did I do about it? Well, I stopped playing and went to sleep. The next day when I woke up, I had a different plan to beat the boss, a different build even. I came in with a fresh mind and a strategy. I was realizing my mistakes from a different perspective and what I could do to fix them, and because of that, I won. Because at the end of the day, it is never the game's fault for you losing. It's yourself, your own hubris, pride, and lack of not fixing mistakes. And if you keep losing over and over again, the only way you will ever win is not by changing the game itself, but changing how you play the game. And now it was time to start changing how I was playing my game. The new plan had a relatively similar start to every other run, with the only exception being that I picked up a large quantity of blocks, which included over a stack of logs. This was for a good reason, but you will see soon enough. After the standard looting, mining, escaping, and robbing the neighborhood village, in which I took no damage at any point, I made my way to the portal room, got the obsidian, and entered the end with 12 stacks of blocks, as many beds as I could carry, and a plan. See, what I realized is every time I die in the end, it's due to the dragon being at my Y level and hitting me. So instead of going from the bottom to the top and risking getting hit at every stage, what if I did the opposite? Slowly bridging above the entirety of the end island, breaking every single crystal without getting hit once. When entering the end, I instantly turn my render distance and entity distance to as low as possible. This prevents Endermen from possibly teleporting on my dirt and stealing it. Then I just start towering up as high as I can until I'm able to go back to a normal render distance, bridge over crystals, and place a water bucket to go down and start breaking them. The first break went smoothly, although I took a good chunk of damage. However, the second did none, the third nearly killed me, and this pattern repeated. I was slowly bridging my way over the island, breaking crystal after crystal. The dragon's fireballs were still definitely an issue, and the Endermen were slowly teleporting on the bridge due to being able to teleport from the pillars of the broken crystals, but the plan was still working. That was until I got to the first cage crystal. I placed a block to stand on it as I broke, but what I didn't realize was that I no longer had a visual on where the dragon was and I wasn't paying attention to it. So, as I swam up the water pillar heading to one of the last crystals before the zero, she hit me twice, sending me flying. And just like that, this was doomed to be another failed run. I was much too far away to land in the water and was too low health to tank the fall. Maybe this was just too difficult and it was impossible. But remember when I said that every failed run teaches me something? Well, this most recent summer, I spent weeks failing to learn zero cycles and getting sent flying by the dragon in every way. And if that taught me one thing, it was how to boat clutch. Oh, I'm actually just insane. You just can't hit a clip like that. This has to be the run. There's no way I can hit a clip like that. This run wasn't going to fail like the others, because this time I had a plan that I was going to execute perfectly. And so I continued to destroy crystals, having a, well, narrow miss with fall damage, and finally destroying all 10. I also managed to boat catch an Enderman, which was aggro on me, learning from that prior mistake also. And now, it's time to ground zero. Now, technically this is an elevated ground zero, which is not the same thing as a zero cycle even though it's in the air, but it's still called a ground even though it's not on the ground, which doesn't make sense. Whatever, it doesn't matter. To explain it in basic terms, dragon can't fireball me because iron bars are just blocks. And if the dragon can't see me, she can't shoot me. Now, as for why this precise build and setup results in the dragon circling around you, I don't know, don't ask me. Now, the issue with this ground zero is that the dragon isn't as easy to kill as I want, because this is the worst possible luck. She will try and fly away as far as possible from any bed explosion and stay high up. This changes the bed's power from something that can level small houses in real life to a Hasbro squeaky hammer, essentially. This is why I need so many beds, and when I say this took a while, this took a while. Once I set up the ground zero, I used a specific speedrunning tool known as Jingle to look at an exact pixel in which if I moved my mouse at all, I would be unable to place beds, ruining the ground zero. Then I just waited minutes for the dragon to slowly float down until I could deal single-digit numbers of damage to her, which then resulted in her getting sent up, and repeating the cycle all over again. This has to be by far the most tedious end fight out of all of my challenges, but soon enough, I was running low on beds, and that dragon still had a good chunk of health. If I couldn't kill her here, it would mean another failed run. And then I misclicked and placed a bed in the wrong spot. This meant I'd lost another bed, and it was scarily coming down to the wire. It could have been much worse, as if I had clicked the bed again, I would have died and this run would have been over completely. But finally, with only one bed left in hand, the health bar went to 0, and it was over.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. No way. No way. No way.
Get it, 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 get it.
Stand the water, stand the water, stand the water, stand the water, stand the water. Bang! Finally! Oh my gosh. Finally I hit it.
And you know, it only took a good 50 minutes. Are you kidding me? What? Also, I just realized if I never slept, does that mean it's still fun? I think it's thundering.